Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Lord Dragonite with another model railroading video. Sorry about the mess, folks, and I don't have a proper thing. Of course the battery's gonna run down. Actually, speaking of the battery, I can just simply charge it up on the computer. I hope. I think that should work. Maybe. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I've got this secondary locomotive, which is the same as this one here, except this one here has a few issues with features. So the railway can't really use this locomotive because it does not have a bell or horn or anything like that, and it violates safety regulations, and the controls are non-functioning in this one. So they decided, rather than scrapping it, they decided to board up the cab and transfer it into a slug or additional power and hook it up to the main. So in the end it's going to run like this. That's how it's going to work. So what we are going to do, where this one's not chipped, is we're going to cover the windows in this locomotive, or fill them in, because, well, cover up the door, because inside here they would have gutted everything and converted it over for slug running, or whatever you want to call it. And of course, again, I do not have a pair of scissors. But anyway, we're just going to do this. I'm just doing this freehand, so really, I'm not really measuring anything. So definitely want to make this a slug locomotive. I'm going to get a pair of scissors. Oh, I already have a pair of scissors. Usually I have to disappear from the camera for a while and get the scissors, and I didn't have to do that today. What a surprise. I'm actually getting good at it. One of you was asking about the PC locomotive. It kind of had an accident, so that's all that's left of it. But, you know, like I said, it's just scrap now. Like, it got busted up here. Whatever. Yeah, anyway. I was thinking of selling it, but I was just basically going to sell it as scrap. Just get rid of it. It's not worth much anyway. It really is just, the chip is garbage. So anyway. And yeah, I want to thank you guys for your information on the layout with the secondary level. I do appreciate that. The blueprints, what was his name? I forget. One of you guys has sent me. I really thought it was interesting. There's just a couple of minor issues I have. For one, how you had the track set up. It was set up to, that's what we're doing, covering the windows. It was set up to go across the mountain. But the problem is, I run an 18-inch, 15-inch radius track. And, yeah, of course your idea was a good idea. I mean, I'm going to still go with it. But I'm going to put it on, I'll show you what the idea is. Yeah, this track here is where I'm going to attach the loop off and go around, have it go around and then down, because otherwise I got this thick to go through. And the tunnel here, coming off on this, he had a straight track here, but yeah, it would mean having to take this switch out, and it would really be almost a very tight curve to go along there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it go down, and it'll start cutting away and go under the hill and kind of in around, and basically make an outwards curve and then drop down under. It's going to be a bit of a steep grade, but it shouldn't be anything too horrible. I'm just going to sit you guys on the table here. See, yeah, but you know, keep them coming. You know, it's trial and error. I mean, this is something that's not gonna. Look at my ugly face. All right. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be something that's gonna take a while to figure out. Yeah, ideas, ideas, ideas. Gotta love ideas. I really do appreciate you guys' comment and supports of this project, though it's eternally ongoing. But what railway isn't? Anyway, so yeah, you know, just cab fillers basically. So the reason why this locomotive, see, these two locomotives were bought by the railway, the Eastern Valley Sub, as a pair, and one of them wasn't working very well. And the other one just sort of sat in the backyard, which Eastern Valley Railway does have another yard, but it's not displayed. It's a CN yard, and anyway, CN kept it in their yard, and then basically converted it into. This is a U.S. version model locomotive. Would have never ran them down in Nova Scotia here. So anyway, as we board up the windows. And then we're going to paint over that. So that window's been completely covered. I mean, you can't see out of it. Do the same for the other side. So as the railway basically bought the Eastern Valley Sub and that whole 20-year dispute or whatever it was and stuff, and they bought these two locomotives. Well, one of them was in far worse condition than the other one over there that actually runs, and so basically they paid CN to fix it up because they didn't have very good engineers. And well, CN just basically said, hey, look, you know, it's going to cost like X amount of money to get this thing running, so what do you want us to do? And you know, they say, well, we need the power, the extra traction. So CN said, alright, well, what we can do is convert this into a slug unit, which you guys will still be able to use it for its traction motors and so forth. So the only thing that, you know, they wouldn't be able to use is the cab because it wouldn't be controllable. And they're like, well, yeah, okay, we'll go with that. So this thing's going to be converted into a slug, though it does have a running number lower. This video is going to be 100 miles long. Eee. Humans. Herd of elephants are running into the building here. So, the New Brunswick show. I don't know what's going on with the club. One of the guys isn't back from vacation. I haven't heard any notifications about it. The Truro show is going as planned. I don't know if myself and Maritime Rail Fan have anything else planned. Haven't heard from them. Probably does. I'll let you guys know eventually. I've been posting a ridiculous amount of videos. Just some random stuff. Think you guys are gonna like next week's video. I'm just gonna give you a hint. One of the videos is a Middleton Railway Museum video, all about Middleton, the museum, and I don't want to give away a lot, but you're gonna get to see the museum in a way you've never seen before. That's all I'll say. So what they did is boarded up these windows. Pretty good too. Of course I'm using this glue to do it, but it's not the best glue. It's just garbage glue. I got a better bottle of glue. It's in that yellow bottle I usually have with a long syringe looking thing on it. Or whatever you want to call that. That's what we're doing. So anyway, those windows have been boarded up. The rear cab windows, the front window's definitely getting boarded up. Well, those are the front windows. Nope, the railway decided, no, we don't want to use this anymore. We don't like this locomotive. I think what I'm going to do is completely board up the door because, you know, they don't want people coming onto this locomotive and trying to get inside it. So we'll board up the door. I'll just stick to boarding up the windows. You can hear my scissors slamming down in the background. Smash, bang, crash. So I had a barbecue today. Made some hamburgers. So, yeah, it looks like I've been getting a lot of support with these videos, and you know, it's been fun. Hope you guys are enjoying the second season. A while back there, I was having some trouble with this, well, we won't say who he is, but you guys know. If you go back, you'll understand it. This gentleman decided to go completely trolly on me. So anyway, if there's anyone else who comes along and starts trolling my videos, it's like, you know what, whatever. You know, troll away. Have fun. Because I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. There we go. Just kind of squish it in there. Now this is going to be basically the rear. It's going to be facing the other locomotive. The door is still going to be manageable in case the crew needs to go in there for, like, something breaks in the central control. I'm going to keep these two windows unplugged, or at least the top two. That way there's a little bit of light in this thing. So when they do go into it, and I'm going to... running out of battery. I don't understand why. I mean, I charged this stupid camera up. I think this camera's starting to go to the toilet. Starting to have some fun. Now I'll just slobber that glue right in there. Like, you know, it doesn't matter. This glue is really, really terrible. And we're just kind of squishing that one in there too. Just rub the glue all the way around the window. Get it in there. This stuff's kind of like slime almost. Just like, slimy. I don't think they would use that for a window cover. You know, you never know. Some railways have different methods of doing things. They could use some paint, or... Actually, painting the window probably would have been a cheaper way of doing it. You know, this railway is... Well, we all know that's not a very good railway. I mean, they use their budgeted rail company, so they... I mean, they can afford a few pieces of scrap plywood, cover the windows with it, and then paint the plywood. There. Now that we got that, we take our locomotive, stick the cab back on. Well, I have to glue the cab back on. That's where the DC chip's going to go. I think I'm going to not worry about it. Maybe this doesn't go on anymore. Uh-oh. I broke it. I broke it. That's it. Call the doctor. I broke the thing. I didn't. There we go. Now, there's no horn and bell on that, but that's going to change because even though it's a slug, it still needs to have some, it needs to have at least a bell. I did have a bell here somewhere. All this crap everywhere. Might have fell on the floor too. Where did my bell go? Do. I lost the bell. Shit. Ah, here's the bell. I found the bell. Hey, we have the bell for the locomotive. That came out of the of this one. We'll stick the bell in there. Well, we have to cut it down a little. There we go. And drill out the hole a bit. We'll use the screwdrivers. That little hole there will kind of drill it out with this screwdriver because I feel like it. No other reason but doing that. And we can stick the bell in there. This isn't the proper bell for this, but you know. Cian just took an old bell and stuck it in there. You know, that's just how Cian works sometimes. I don't know if that's true. No, Cian's okay. My version of Cian is just, well, my railway's kind of like, whatever, if it fits, put it on and weld it in there. If it doesn't, well, okay, well, we'll get to that. So they basically repair locomotives with whatever they can find. Duct tape and pliers. Yeah, they repair locomotives with Red Green's method. Red Green built a car out of duct tape, or fixed one with duct tape. I seen an episode where he did that. I don't know if you ever seen that, where he made his van or something into a boat by using duct tape. Anyway, if you guys haven't seen that, go YouTube Red Green and watch some of his videos. It's hilarious. But he does everything with duct tape. The only thing I ever done with duct tape was made a pair of slippers. They lasted 2 weeks. That and my duct tape shoes. So we got the bell on there. This one there has a different bell. It's a little smaller. And it's got a horn. Since it's a slug and it's only using the traction motors, it doesn't need the funnel. But we'll leave the funnel on. We'll just cover it with tar. We'll just bury it. Yeah, just rip it off. They don't need that either. Just start tearing stuff off the locomotive that they don't need. Let's see, we don't need the prime mover, let's rip that out. No, they would have left the prime mover in for the weight. That would have been the only reason to keep the prime mover, it just would be non-functional. Of course, if they really wanted to run it, they probably could. And use it as a backup in case the first locomotive decides to die. And they can just fire up the prime mover in this one. So yeah, they would have left the prime mover operational, or at least in conversion operation. So in order to basically start it up, they'd have to, that's why they didn't board up the door and left those two top windows open. So they get in the locomotive, start the prime mover, switch it over to well, switch it over so that way it becomes a lead locomotive, or a trail locomotive, and then the engineer would basically be on the throttle or whatever, and then throttle this back to a base with the second locomotive in tow. Because if it has a dead prime mover, I mean, it's good to have two. Otherwise, this thing's just used just for its traction motors. And you're just looking at trying to put a handrail on, so yeah. They'd have the conductor sitting up here telling the engineer, you know, what's ahead of them. Because he can't see out of them small windows. Of course, they just take the boards off. So they leave this locomotive in partially working condition so that if they ever needed to run it, they could. With a little bit of maintenance to it. I mean, they'd have to get in and disconnect the, or reconnect the prime mover, basically, or the prime mover main circuit that Cian would have put in to basically cut the prime mover off so it won't randomly start up where the traction motors, whatever, however that's supposed to work, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, basically just throw a few switches and get it going again. No big deal. I think, I don't know, that's not really how railway technology works, but it'd be funny if it did. You could, I mean, might not be that hard, really. Railways can do a lot of different things. Anyway, folks, that's pretty much it. So now we have 2 working locomotives instead of 1. There's no chip in that one, but there will be. It's going to be on the opposite number. And it's going to be weathered up. And where this one's not going to have any handrails because, well, the only place it's really going to have handrails is... And of course another reason why it can't really run is because safety hazard, no steps. And then they just connect together. Or it's like I said, the engineer would just climb up to the front. You have something on this side so you can't go down that side. You have to go up and on the other side of this locomotive. And these two would just always be linked. And there you have it, folks. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You know, all the fun stuff. Yep. And we'll see you again shortly. Later, folks. Have a good night. Bye. Who is that guy?